How y'all doing tonight?
Great.
All right. I'm Eddie B, as they call me, and I'm gonna give my story about me not being impressed. I was young. I was raised in the church. My mother would drop us off and go to work, and you watch the people in there. Everybody chasing sex. The money. Their God was whoever got the best job or was making more money. That's God was on your side. Wasn't impressed. I told my mother, I said, boy, by the time when I turn 18, I'm never stepping foot up in another church, man, because you didn't see the Most High working there. So I left the church and ran out into the streets. So, because you believe when you're young, that's where all the men are at, you know. So you in the streets, everybody ducking and dodging child support. Their baby mama running their lives. They go outside and hustle so they can go back and give their girlfriends, their baby mamas all their money. And you looking, you ducking and dodging penitentiary. I ain't see no power there. We go out, you act hard amongst another black man, or he do something, he owe you some money, you get hard with that. But the rest of the day, you running from the police. I wasn't impressed with that. You go to the club, get drunk, you make money just to go chase the women. I was like, yeah, okay. So, coming up, I didn't drink, smoke, none of that stuff really, well, it didn't impress me. Same thing. Okay, the men out in the streets, so went to the mosque, joined the revolution and all that stuff. And it was just always fear. Everybody running or playing the victim role about what the white man is doing. Where are the men at? So it's like, you spend your whole time running from this situation to this situation, trying to be a man with the little information that you got, but you're watching the men in your lives, conquer. The system is telling them what the definition of a man is, but all you see is fear, and the only thing that makes you a man is how many women you can get or how much money you can get. But then you also, you see the compromise. My father, he will always teach me to be a gentleman, but he taught me how to be a gentleman by showing me what not to do. And I look at other people in my family, they did do what he did, thinking that was manly, and I'm like, man, that's not it. So by me doing the opposite, it made me grow into, by me not drinking and smoking and doing all the things that he taught us what to do to make you a man. I seen the value in myself grow by watching how my, people around me was being devalued by doing the same things that my father was doing. So, just running from one situation to another situation, and it's like, it kind of remind me of like you watch the movies where you see a group of kids, they doing stuff and they fighting with other kids and all this stuff, and there always be that one to be like, man, I ain't running no more. And I had to stop and, take that narrow path and go my own way and walk my own walk. And that brought me here to the Remnant, where we value the information. I take it like it's a chapter in John. Hold on, let me go get it, and I gotta do the Elijah. Hold on. I just took a picture. It's yeah. It's John 19:17, where it says Jesus, carried his own cross. So here in this remnant, like I like to say, this thing of ours, everybody here bears their own cross. We carry our own accountability. Over here, that's what makes you stand. That's what makes you a man over here. Not by running from your situation, by standing in your information and conquering that information. So then you go back and tell your brother, man, this is what happened to me. This is what I did and conquer that situation. Not about how I ran and got away from the police. How, oh man, old girl hit me up. She's talking about she's pregnant, but man, I don't think the baby is mine. And all that buffoonery things that you hear, on a daily. you know. So, I'm like Suge Knight, you tired of being out there in the world, you know what I'm saying? People dancing all in the videos, dancing all in the records and everything. Man, come over here to this Remnant. All right, who's next? Okay. Yes, sir.
I got a new nickname around here. Call me Keyway. Yeah, so let's go forward a little bit. All right here. Okay. I'm glad that Eddie went before me and he spoke on a bit of how his generation was, but I want to speak on mine a little bit. I'm 27 years old. My name is Key. And growing up in a generation that I grew up in, I was constantly seeking information. And in this, the early 2000s, began to have more of social media, stuff like that. You got YouTube and then Facebook and more social media platforms came, to the forefront. And I was always constantly seeking some type of information because of the lack of men that I had around me, and I always felt that the males that I grew up around, they always showed me the opposite of what I should be doing. And so as I got older and I start seeking more information, I began to, like with the numbers game, I began to seek things thinking it was about popularity, but I always knew it was something out there for me, that it was something special that I was supposed to be doing. It was something about it, and I've always tried to seek it through maybe religion, or trying to find it within Islam, whatever it was. But once I came across this information, it's what broke me, and I knew that it was everything that I was looking for, because it was a spiritual thing. It hit me right where it was supposed to. And once I began to get into the information and it broke me, I knew this is exactly where I needed to be. And now that I have everything that I've been looking for, I'm just continuing to grow and continuing to keep seeking and because I have eternity right now. So all I got to do is continue to grow. And there's 3 foundations within the information. You become remnant and you decide to commit to the information. And then you start applying the information. You start applying it and you see the results of it. But the 3rd step is you fall in. And that's when you're supposed to get up. As long as you get up, you're going to continue to grow in this thing. And you continue to be obedient and submissive to the Most High. That's what's going to keep you your eternity. That's all. Oh, I'm sorry. Here you go,
Man. What's up, man? You good? You gonna go? How you do this time, huh? In the words of my cousin, he would say, you got to be smarter than the gadget right now.
Yes.
Lace me up, man. Excellent, excellent. Okay, good evening. Blessings, everybody. Glad everybody's here. You know what I'm saying? My name is Joseph H. As you guys probably see on YouTube. I had a topic from last week, and my brother Kavasi, we kind of talked about this a little bit, but even with the topic that Dre was able to bring and convey today, has even strengthened it. So I'm definitely going to be speaking on it. It was titled Misplaced Values. And with the misplaced values, I can definitely be the first to say I can identify a lot of places where there was misplaced value in my life. But the beauty about it is that I now have the eyes to be able to see those areas. So I got a pull. And in the remnant, we got a thing where we call it a righteousness. And there's a righteous pull. You get to have a firm understanding of exactly everything that was occurring. But most importantly, first is where the Most High was in that. So going back to when I was young, I'm an individual that's got a blemished past. I ain't perfect, man. I'm far from it. You know what I'm saying? And I pray that this is able to reach my community of those who have been incarcerated. You know what I'm saying? But just everybody in general. So one thing that I want to definitely convey right now is that within this information, grasping it, taking hold of it, operating in it, applying it, as my brother Keyway said, applying it, it pours into every area of your life. And by doing that, you're able to also too have covering in these areas, but now flip the coin, vice versa, right? Also too, for the things that you lend yourself to, placing value in, it can also pour in the areas of your life. So for me, one area was fear. And within this fear, it came from a small experience of first being incarcerated at a very young age, juvenile years, right? But not knowing that this is going to carry on into my adult years, right? On the way that I will show up for where the Most High allowed me to have another experience of being arrested of some sense, you know what I'm saying? And dealing in front of these people, showing up in front of these people. But more so what that fear comes with is a lack thereof courage, poise, and belief. Yeah. So with those three things, just how Dre was saying earlier, they're able to dictate your future by what it is that they're labeling you as, by what it is that they're dictating your future to be, by what they're sentencing you to and how much time they're going to give you, and more so importantly, these so-called redemption programs that they're going to provide you, which is all governed in the way that they're going to try to mold and teach you, but more so conditioning. So knowing that, and that's their power that they instilled, right? I was ceding power to it. That's the cold part. That's the cold part. So now I'm finding myself in areas and situations of my life where I'm operating out this fear that's now been ceded to me, that I place value on. It's misplaced. Where I'm putting on an anger, a disappointment, and an indignation that was not righteous. You know what I'm saying? Showing up in certain areas of my life where there was more of a reaction than a response. So fast forward, right? I always knew that the Most High was somewhere with me, but I couldn't take grasp of it, right? And that's the cold part about this whole thing, is that Hebrews 3:15, man. The moment you hear, and I'm paraphrasing, or D, can you pull up Hebrews 3:15 for me? So that's just a little bit of context leading to this point of where I started taking the value of what it is I was hearing in these certain moments and started walking towards it.
Hebrews 3:15 says, through him, therefore, let us at all times offer up to Yah a sacrifice of praise, which is the fruit of lips that thankfully acknowledge and confess and glorify his name. Is that what you're looking for?
I think that was the wrong one. My apologies, y'all. Forgive me. Hebrews 4, I think.
Yeah.
Hebrews 3:15.
3:15.
My apologies.
Today, while it is said, Hebrews 3:15, today.
Are you an AMP or GNC?
I'm an AMP.
There we go.
Is that the version you want?
Yep.
Okay. 3:15, Hebrews 3:15 AMP. While it is said, today, while there is still opportunity, if you hear his voice, do not harden your heart. As when they provoked me in the rebellion in the desert at Meribah. Today, while there is still opportunity, if you hear his voice, do not harden your heart, as when they provoked me in the rebellion in the desert of Meribah.
So having the opportunity to finally be able to hear something that's far more greater than what was given to me drew me closer to start listening, right? So leading to my previous and most recent experience dealing with these people, something inside of me with a righteous now indignation was able to sit before these people. No concerns, no worries, and actually a smile on my face. And even leading to the point where a so-called judgment was placed on me, there was a little voice in the back of my mind that said that this judgment doesn't hold no power over you. My judgment is final, right? So even standing before the judge, getting up, speaking, and letting him know, you know what I'm saying? And this is the word said, this is going to be the last time you see me. He's more focused on me taking accountability. That's been done, brother. It's going to be the last time you see me. And I mean that, right? You know what I'm saying? So leading to the point of getting out the courtroom, this is something very unheard of, but this is also what comes with this transferring of the value. For the person that I am, I shook the prosecutor's hands. I don't want accolades or anything. I'm just presenting the word that was now received and planted to be able to do these things. Because if I wasn't operating from the word that is now instilled inside of me, I would have continued operating out of that fear, doubt, and disbelief, which in other words, you're lending your members. You're not operating on the faith that's given to you. You know what I'm saying? So as much as they try to provide these so-called redemption programs, as I was saying earlier, the Most High provided restoration, the ultimate restoration. So, you know, I pray that this is going to be able to reach who it needs to reach and accompany the areas that need to be challenged on that fear, but more importantly, where you're placing your value, because there's a lot of deception on the leading. There's a lot of deception on how the system tries to provoke you to believe their way is right, when in actuality, the Most High way is the most way that the best way that you can take, because it's gonna make a crooked place straight. You know what I'm saying? So yes.
Oh, praise it. A lot of our brothers get up here rocking those glasses, looking like professors. I feel left out. I don't got nothing to touch. Dre read something earlier, had me read something in Matthew 7:13, but 14 following behind that. Starting at 13, it said, "Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate, and spacious and broad is the way that leads away to destruction. And many are those who enter in through it." 14 says, "But the gate is narrow and contracted by pressure, and the way is straitened and compressed that leads away to life, and few are those who find it." Few are those who find it. I've been talking to a lot of my brothers, some of the sisters, and I remember when I first met my son Yuri. Most of y'all know who he is. If you don't, he looks like a splitting image of me, as most of my kids do. But I was talking to his mom when we first met, and she was like super pumped up about our people being Israelites, who we are, where we come from, and she was talking to me about it every day. And she had a great amount of information about it. And I remember one day specifically me telling her to just shut up about it. I didn't want to hear it anymore, right? And she looked at me like I was crazy. But I told her I didn't want to hear about who our people were from her, because she needed to learn the foundation of what it took in her case to be a woman of character and principles. The same thing applies to manhood: honor, loyalty, respect, integrity, and dignity. It doesn't matter if we have this information, as beautiful as it is. It doesn't matter how much of it you know. Our ancestors had a wealth of information, the same information to begin with, and they were still out of bounds, causing a 400-year curse to be placed upon our people. It's not what you know so much as you apply the information that you get in your life. If you can't stand to be a man or a woman of character and principle before anything else in your life, all of this is useless. Not trying to blow up the channel or anything, but if that doesn't become the foundation and the most important thing in your life, you're wasting your time and your money right now. You're wasting it. Again, you can't take this information and do anything outside of what's required with you in the information. I've seen people try to do bad with good. It doesn't work. It never does. There's a character flaw there, because those individuals have begun to value so much what the world has been pumping out and they've been taking in, that anytime they feel like they get something that they can use instead of apply, but they can use to get ahead just because it's something that sounds good, because the information is appealing, right? It's very appealing, especially for a man to be sharing it with a woman. I myself personally know exactly what it does to a woman from the inside out when a man is sharing this information. You heard Dre say earlier, all you have to do is talk to a woman for 15 minutes. She's going to feel something in your disposition about this information, about being a man. And she will. But in our culture, and I was talking to one of the loved ones earlier about this, in our culture, we value and have been tricked by great orators. And so just like a lot of the men like things that sound good to them, a woman saying the right things and not necessarily focusing on a woman doing the right things, women also value that. A man coming to say all the right things, to touch all the right emotions, not having that foundation inside of her that leads her to operate in her virtue, to have that reserve about her and not entertain certain conversations and certain things, not to value those things like most of the people that come out of this 400 years do. This is pretty much the case all over the world, not just with blacks, not just with Latinos, not just with the Israelites, but with everyone. The beautiful thing is we got this relief doctrine. We don't have to be subject to those things anymore. We can keep standing up and making that choice in our life every single day to value the things that the Most High has placed here for us to value over what the world keeps pumping out to us through Instagram, through Facebook, through TikTok, through just the people that we interact with on a daily basis, right? We have what we need to take a stand and operate in the capacity that is pleasing to the Most High and not just to our so-called friends or family members. None of this is designed to be pleasing for anybody else but the Most High, between you and the Most High, God with me. I don't do this for Eddie. I don't do this for Key. I don't do it for my aunt and uncle. As much as I love them to death, and they're some of my favorite people on the face of the earth, this is not for them. They gave it to me, but I don't do it for them. All right? Don't do it for them. This is for the Most High. This is because this is who I choose to be in my life. This is who I stand up and fight to be every day. Unc said that manhood can be summed up in one word, right? In one word. When he said it, I stood up behind him because that's what came to heart. That one word for me is to stand. Stand after you've done everything in your life. The scripture says, after you've exhausted every resource, every possibility that you have to stand, and you're tired and beat up, just keep standing. A good partner of mine, a brother of mine, very close. He's not here today, but he's up in the Remnant. He has it on his tattooed on his back. I knew he was my loved one when I saw it. Stand and keep standing. You know, it rings so much in our life. That rings so much in my life. I don't know about y'all, but it rings in my life. Because the one thing the Most High can't do is lie. If we stand up and do what we're supposed to do, he promised he would show up. He promised that. And if he can't lie, you can rest assured I'm going to put him to the test. Because I want that in my life. Not for anybody else, not to impress my family, not to impress my woman, not because it makes me a better father, not because I'm a better dad to my kids, not to impress the remnant, because that's the covering I want in my life. And that's what this information gives us. Gives us that the ability to have that. So with that being said, if nobody else has anything else to say, I think we got somebody that we don't really hear from too much. Maybe. Huh? Honda?
Okay, I guess I'm a, huh? I guess I'm gonna speak. I have what they call stage fright, and uh, I say with that, me not liking to speak in front of people almost made me not come to Washington because I didn't really know what to expect if I was gonna have to speak in front of like a larger crowd or just almost everybody in Washington, but I had to just pretty much push through that feeling, because when we heard that we were coming to Washington, I was pretty confident, and regardless, I was gonna come, right? But excuse me, kind of nervous.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was pretty confident and wanted to move here, but like I was about to say,
Can I ask you a question?
mm-hmm.
We have a bunch of classes. A lot of people normally have their favorites. Which you got a favorite?
Favorite class.
Topic class.
There's so many of them.
I know. How about that class on what was it about women? What was it? She is woman. You seen that?
Mm-hmm.
You remember it? A lot.
Yeah.
Because you take in a lot.
Yeah.
I can say that I'm extremely proud of your disposition, your faith, your belief.
Mm-hmm.
You don't always have to say a lot. There's a lot of people that say a lot. You do a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You do a lot. And I'd rather have a doer of the word than just a hearer of the word.
Yeah.
That's what you are.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep. That's kind of what I was trying to say earlier. About the whole me being nervous at first. Because the enemy was kind of getting to me when I was confident coming here. And it's kind of like, well, you're too shy to speak in front of people, and just a whole lot of negative thoughts. But just having to pretty much push through that, and just wanted to. I'm sorry, I forgot what to say. Yeah. Yeah. See, that's my problem right there. As far as what do you mean? Just being around family, and that's what really what brought me here. Not being too focused on my fears, because I've always been, with me always like growing up being quiet and shy and everything. I've always had a fear of like stepping out into the world, and having to make something of myself, So yeah, just having to conquer that.
What do you think making something of yourself now for the original?
Making something of myself now, I don't know. It's just more so me being submitted and obedient, just leaving everything up to the Most High. Because I will always struggle with that. And with that, it's like, I will always think like, I got to make something of myself. I don't know what I want to do. I feel like I'm running out of time. The older I get, each birthday that passed, so just now, just leaving that to the Most High and just more so focusing on my submission and obedience, and just, yeah, that's the only thing I can really focus on. Right. Mm-hmm.
So you got that right. Guess what? You made something of yourself already.
Right.
Already.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah.
Come on. Let's get it.
After that, I'll let you guys get some
Sure.
There you go.
I'll just be real quick because I know y'all hungry.
Don't be quick for that.
So listening to y'all talk, by the way, y'all look good today. Y'all look amazing, very sharp. Yep. Give it up for yourself. But what I want to say is when I listen to you guys talk and I hear a commonality in everybody's stories, and I get an image. I get the imagery of a Venus flytrap. Y'all know what a Venus flytrap is, right? So a Venus flytrap is a flower that will emit a very sweet scent, right? So a fly will be just flying around minding its own business. It's unsuspecting. It gets a whiff of this scent. And then it's thrown off of its path and it goes over into this flower, right? It starts drinking out of the flower. It starts drinking this sweet nectar, right? And all the while it has an opportunity to leave, right? It's not trapped yet, but it just keeps going and it keeps taking that nectar. It's addicted at this point. And it has a chance to leave, but before it gets a chance to fly away, boom, the flower closes its mouth and it devours the fly, right? And so that is what I think about when I hear, Dre talk about, people selling you an idea, and it throws you off of your original culture and you go into this idea. Or when Eddie, when you talk about, they're just giving you these different things. Or I guess I'm saying, I'm going back to what you were saying about pumping out, Instagram images, TikTok images, all of these things, they distract you. And all of these distractions will throw you off of your purpose, right? And so, and it reminds me of what Dre said as well. It's like being a man is being able to be willing to die before you give in to those distractions, before you are willing to weaken yourself and go down that path of destruction. You can say, no, I have a plan. Before you even leave the house, you have a plan, right? You say, I'm going to get this done. No matter what scent I smell, no matter what looks good to my eyes, no matter what sweet words she says to me, no matter what he says to me, I'm going to go and I'm going to finish my plan, right? Because that's my purpose as a man or as a woman. And so that's just all I had to say. Like, that image just kept coming to my mind. And I kept thinking about how, we are led down the path to destruction, but we always have a chance to leave. Right. But sometimes, we just stay on that path until it's too late. Right. But we always have a chance to just get back on that right path and fulfill your purpose.
Yeah.
So that's going to be it. Listen, this is real great. This is our public outreach, because normally we do things through our classes. We do classes Monday and Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Get in class. That's where you get taught. That's when we really were able to go into real detail for an hour and a half, 2 hours sometimes, right? And we are able to break things down. This is our public outreach, and we love doing it. But get in class. If you get into class, I advise you to use your computer or Android, because if you use your iPhone, Apple charges a surcharge. So instead of it being $50, you'll end up paying like almost $65. So use your computer, or if you have Android, use it, right? And you only have to pay $50. And that's for twice a week, right? Once you get into the classes, we give you access to hundreds of classes. There's probably over 300 classes on different topics that you will be able to go through at your leisure. We do not sell nothing to you later, right? We're not trying to get money off you to get rich off you, right? So when you become a member, you have access to the 300 plus classes that are in there on all topics. You got immediate access, okay? All praises to the Most High.
We'll see you next week.